Good morning, DSST. This is Mr. Sandblum again. I'm just going to walk you through a little bit about how we evaluate perception versus reality. And so, if you have just read the story, which all of you should have done, and answered the questions, maybe some of you have thought about this already, but a big component of this initial part of the story is how Emily Johnson, how she perceives things versus what the actual reality is. And ultimately, this will lead us as we get into the end of the story, some of the decisions that Emily makes. So this was in your notes at the beginning, but we have two vocabulary terms. And you should be familiar with these at this point based on the vocabulary section. But perception is a way of interpreting something based on a previous or personal experience. Conversely, reality is different from that, and reality is the way things actually exist or actually are. Okay, so perception and reality are as important to the story as I said, and in order to model that, I pulled this picture from the internet. There's two pictures here. What I want you to do is first take a look at that left side of the picture. This is a picture of an individual at the dentist, sometimes a place that creates anxiety for people. And on the right side, another picture of someone at the dentist. So take a look at both of those. And then what I want you to do is just take a minute to describe, based on the definitions that I just went over, which part of this picture, which side, either the left side or the right side, represents perception and why. So go ahead and take a minute to fill in those blanks. Again, you're filling in the yellow, right, where it says the blank of these pictures represents perception because. Tell me which side is perception and why. About 10 more seconds to fill in your initial thoughts there. All right, so when I look at this picture, obviously when you go to the dentist's office, the reality is you will never see a dentist with a massive drill used for construction to drill into someone's mouth like the picture on the right side. So if I'm completing this, I'm actually going to make sure that I say the right side here of the picture represents perception because, and like I said earlier, a lot of people have fear around going to the dentist, so that creates that perception that something awful is going to happen at the dentist. All right, so if I'm filling this in, I would say the right side because the picture represents perception because people have fear of the dentist, and that creates the perception that something terrible will happen when you go to the dentist office for a checkup. So one more time, the right side represents the perception because of the fear that people have of going to the dentist. That is not the reality of what you actually see at the dentist. So based on the right side of the picture, I want you independently to fill in question number 2. Which side, and this should be pretty obvious for this first part, represents the reality, and then explain why that is the reality. Go ahead and fill that in before you move on.